you also fall in this category. So most common solutions that have been evolving so far to like solve this is leveraging USSD and SMS solutions. So this is for people that live in rural areas and feature phones. So what they've done so far is, rather than like making people have to make payments and stuff like that by using a smartphone or going to a website or downloading an app, we basically ask them to use probably SMS or USSD if you really want a lot of conversion, if you don't want to limit your market to people that use smartphones. So this is one of the solutions that so far exists. Accessibility. If you're so much into web, you must have seen a lot of this in 2018. People are trying to like make the web more accessible than it has been before, because we've realized it's lack of empathy that people are not able to use our site because they're either colorblind or their thumbs are not working so fine or stuff like that too. Research, and just like this tackles the cultural situation. You don't just like build stuff and put shit out there. You don't know what happens when it gets to the market. You don't know who. Why? Yeah. So you have to like ask questions. I can't be a Nigerian. I know like I know what's funny there, and those things are not funny here. I've tried to make jokes here, it doesn't work. So I had to remove all the jokes in my slides, like the common things I said, expecting my friends here to laugh, and they were like just looking at me. So stuff like that, you have to account for them. So it's just cultural shock, it's cultural imbalance. You don't just build stuff and deploy them and expect that if it works for Nigeria, it should work for South Africa. Yeah, offline capabilities. Come on, we are in Africa, so it's in this room we are privileged. There are people that can't like have 3G connectivity. Talk more of like the fast new generation internet. Then empathy. So you have to care. Like I added this to the slide after the keynote. That if you are the keynote, like he mentioned something like you don't just write code as a developer. You should like consider, hey, this person actually using this app, not me. Definitely you have office Wi-Fi, things work very fast, like things are moving very easy for you. Then you end up shipping, and then people that are actually going to like end up consuming your app don't have such opportunities like use them. So among everything I've listed, both among the strategies and the problems we have been having, I'm going to like probably focus on offline web apps. So the first time I spoke about this was the expression I got. So like how are those two words in the same sentence? Like, yeah, being a web app, I am mentioning offline. Like it doesn't really make sense to some people, but yeah, before I just move, I just need that just cooperate with me. I just need to make sure I'm in the right room. If you've ever done anything with PWA or tried going offline before, can I see your hands? Hey, girls, Mike. Okay, that's okay. Then at least I can be as basic as possible, so nobody like. yeah. So it's like saying heaven on earth. Yeah, there's no such thing as heaven on earth. Offline apps are not entirely offline. They are just an illusion. Yeah, so you make the user feel what they want to feel, but it's an experience. Experience doesn't really matter how it was created, but the most important thing is that when I launched your app offline, it's open. Okay, I don't really care how you did it. So I'm just going to walk you through the strategy of doing this. So before that, maybe this story might help you like understand why not just the guys in rural areas need stuff like this, but you in this room as well probably like might need a PWA. So you left your home this morning, of course, with a fast Wi-Fi or probably 3G connectivity, and then jumped on a bus heading to this conference happily, and then you try to watch funny videos while you are moving, and you guys know there's generally bad connectivity when you're on transit. When you're commuting, there's generally bad. I don't know how South Africa is. Well, I don't know how developed you guys are, but in Nigeria, it's horrible. Like we don't have things like bus Wi-Fi or like it's yeah. So yeah, but this is one of the things I was telling you about cultural issues. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense right now. But in Nigeria, as a use case, if I'm going to work, that's when I experience the worst connectivity in my daily life. So, and then you put your phone back in your pocket and hoping to get here in the next 15 minutes so you can just get over with the horrible experience. I don't know, if you're in Lagos, Lagos has the worst traffic ever. They don't have bad Johannesburg, but there's a chance you're going to get stuck. And this is 2018. Most of the things we do when we are bored is like pull out our phone and try to like keep our minds busy. Yeah, so you go back to your funny content, hoping to like get something working. And of course, you still can't afford a reasonable fast connection. Then you start to remember how much you hate your life and how you never, and I'm moving forward. Yeah, so if this scenario frustrated you, then think of those rural kids that can't even afford, like throughout their day they don't even have. So probably what they could do is when probably there's a market square somewhere that their parents could go with their iPad and then download some videos or games and then come back for them to play. Maybe in Village Square they have like a mosque there that has probably like some level of internet connectivity and stuff like that. So, but I'm just trying to like create a mental situation for you here. So like you understand my perspective, you like feel the pain that people feel as well. So this was just like short time within your day where you are going to somewhere, you are assured of internet connectivity, but then some people are not even hoping to get them at all. So what we could have done was to prefetch the content when you had a stable internet, and then serve you this content when you're offline. Okay? So just like the scenario I gave you, if in the case of those kids, no matter how bad those rural areas are, there are probably places in their towns, in their villages where there is a bit of stable connectivity. So if there's a chance they are there, why don't we just prefetch the content and store it in probably local storage? So when they are back to like their horrible connectivity and try to launch, they get to see something to like enjoy while they are out. So 48% of the world population is online. What happens to 52? So yes, we are doing a great job, but then if more than 50% of people on Earth are not on internet in 2018, then I think we have a lot to do. So, yep. So every time something comes out, every time a new technology comes out, it seems intimidating, and what is this supposed to be about, and stuff like that. So I'm just going to break it down and then help you guys understand what PWAs are. So it's actually not a tool. There's not like where you have something like Android as a framework or React as a library or stuff like that. It's not a tool, it's a concept. It's an ideology. It's what some group of smart guys like put together and felt like, okay, we should do this way, and probably like try to like help support people that can't and get to connection very fast. So there's no silver bullet to it. You just have to like put in 2 or 3 things together to get things working. So how? Usually you have the browser and a server. That's the normal model we have in the web structure. So in this case, what PWA tries to do is to introduce a cache into a service worker and a cache in between those two guys. Okay, so when the service worker is just a proxy system bit, I'll get to like explain what that is. But then basically, instead of just making a request to a network directly, you make a request to a cache, and if what you're looking for doesn't exist in the cache, before you make a network request. Okay? So I'm just going to repeat. It's very important to get this. Usually, we make requests directly to networks, but then what the idea now is, okay, intercept the network and check if there is already a stale data in the cache, then render the stale data before making that request. So at that point, you're already like giving the user something to see before you actually start getting the current data from a network. So this is the usual structure for service worker service worker cache interactivity. You make a request. The service worker is just like a code running in the background. So the service worker, instead of allowing the request to get to the server, the service worker intercepts the request. So it's like a little logic you write. So what it does is, at that interception, it checks if the data exists in the cache. If it does exist, it sends it to the page and then makes the request. Remember, it still makes that request even though it exists in the cache. But then the most important thing is that what was in the cache has been saved. Remember what I told you about illusions. So I'm giving you a stale data. You go to probably Instagram looking for posts. If there is no connectivity, it doesn't mean that you won't see pictures. It doesn't mean that the app wouldn't start at all. It starts the app shell, saves you some posts that were stored in the cache previously, but then it won't. It will probably tell you you're offline, and then it won't give you the latest posts from the guys you're following. Okay, so what ends up happening is, after the cache has been saved, the service worker still makes a request to the network and then fetches the current data, the fresh data, and then replaces what was in the UI with the latest data. And all this works in hand with also a file called a manifest file. What it basically helps you to do is add, you could add an icon to the home screen, have a splash screen, like have an app icon too, and at the end of the day, you realize you're actually building what you could have done with a mobile app. Okay, you've actually kind of built a standalone app. So if I'm able to build an app that works offline, and then the app has an icon, and it has the usual splash screen you have. Okay, so good, and and Safari is still battling to support this, but for people using Android, Chrome does a great job at helping you like hide the search bar and stuff like that. So you end up having like a full screen app that doesn't come with the browser and the browser frame. So just in case you think this is still experimental and should we really be using it, Flipkart, since they started using PWAs, since they started running on PWAs, their apps consume less data usage, and you could infer the reason why, because most of the data you need, instead of it like to keep making requests, unnecessary requests, you can just simply fetch data from the user's cache, and then 40% higher re-engagement rate, as well as 70% conversion rate. So these rates are caused by the fact that if this my friend here sells a product, or if he runs an e-commerce site, and I'm running an e-commerce site, you guys know the whole competition thing. If I should visit his site and spend a lot of time on it, there is a high chance that I would bounce off to something faster. Okay, there is a high chance of staying at a particular page because this guy gives me like more better experience. Anytime I get to this site, it doesn't take time to load, so I just keep patronizing this guy. So that's where the whole conversion rate comes from. Housing.com have their own statistics too. AliExpress, the same thing. So this concept is not and Twitter also mobile Twitter now runs on PWA. So it's not just about a buzzword. Like people like just assume it's a new technology, it's experimental. People are just excited about it, so it's not useful now. People are actually using this to like build better experience for people out there. So considerations, and you need to first keep in mind that PWA favors more mobile than people on the web, because most times when you're with a laptop, there's a chance you have a stable internet. So it favors people that are on the mobile, that are on mobile devices than web. And in that case, you have to really consider a lot of things. One big mistake developers do is, like just as an example, if you have an image that is originally probably 3,000 by 1,500 in dimension, and you save it probably on very large screens like this, and then when you want to like serve the same image on a mobile device, you just use CSS to probably scale it down exactly, or just do like a width 100%, and then it just takes up the whole width, and then you use the same image. Okay, if this is a common bad practice. Why is a bad practice? Is because the expected large device, probably like my laptop, runs on a 16 gigabyte RAM, and then the mobile phone doesn't have the same capabilities. So it takes more time to process and these large images than it takes for a bigger screen, even when both are rendered properly. So you need to actually really sit down and consider performance and optimization. I just give you an instance of what we do with images, which is a very, very bad practice. Progressive images too. There's this concept called below the fold content. When you have so much content to be displayed once, there's no point rendering what is not seen at a particular time. Okay, so you could just prefetch when you start perceiving interaction. When the user starts scrolling, you can start fetching items and adding to the content below. Don't populate. Not just for fetch from server. So if you have a long blog post, it's just like what Medium does. So Medium doesn't give you the whole images at once. When you start scrolling, you start seeing the images loading progressively. If you've had this experience, just nod your head. Let me know we are together. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So bundle splitting, we can be very tempted with the feature that Webpack provides, which is bundling apps and sending them to the client. Yes, initially it was supposed to be a fantastic concept, but then at some point it started posing a problem where I have a React app that has about 10 routes, and all the routes code are in bundle.js. Okay, I don't know. This might sound. I don't know if how many people here are web developers. Sorry. Okay, fine. I'm in the right room. yeah. So like you create a bundle.js file and send it to the client, but then the user just launches the home page. So which means at that point, he or she is requesting the JavaScript for login, the JavaScript for about, the JavaScript for contact, the JavaScript for every other pages that is not being shown at that point. Okay? So you are slowing down experience by actually introducing unnecessary code. So what you could do is to split your code and have just what the home screen needs at that point, and then start prefetching the rest. Or you can just, because users already used to, if I click a link, it doesn't necessarily need to open immediately. That's what users still expect from us as developers. Like there should be a waste of time before we get to the next page. So yeah, so there's no point being a Superman and trying to like load everything once. So give them a better experience by loading what they are looking for faster, and then prefetch the rest while they start navigating. And yeah, I think the same point with deferred fetching and lazy loading, prefetching, the same thing. Take advantage of cache and local and web storage. So those storage in your browsers are not just there. They are not just there for fancy cases or for it to like play around. You could actually use them to persist some content that don't need to always go to the server to fetch and stuff like that. So you don't waste trip times to the server. Okay, pretty much everything that makes the web a better place. Yeah, so right now I'm better dealing with mixed feelings, like, yeah, excitement, this is a new technology, and then how do I start? So, yeah, so, yeah, so I'm just going to like quickly show a simple demo. Um, yeah, before I show you the code behind it, so if you can open, you could like use your mobile phone to like open this link. Preferably if you're using Android, though. So, yeah, yeah, so, and Chrome, of course. So, but the exciting thing is that the team behind Safari is adopting PWA, so it's safe to like start working against that fact. Yeah. So, are you guys here? Yeah, cool. So this app, when you go offline currently and try to reload it, in I hope it should, well, it will. It should still give you the same app. Like when you disconnect your internet and try to refresh the app, it's gone. Come back online and try again. Yeah, yeah. You can. Are you offline now? You're back on. Then just log in. So is this Firebase? Why you guys are playing with? Let me just show you the code behind this. I guess my screen is very tiny. Can you guys see the guys behind? Can you see? Okay. Ah, awesome. Thank you. Okay. So this is a view setup for the guy. The platform you're using doesn't really matter, but I just used Vue as an example. If you go to your production webpack production configuration and try to scroll down a bit, this is what we care about here. So basically, the static field globes, what it does is whatever globes it matches, it tries to cache the files that is matched. So probably it should match your index.html, your style.css, and your static JavaScript files. Okay, so the files you send to the client from the server automatically are going to be cached by this plugin, by this Webpack plugin, and then the runtime caching, you provide URL patterns for things like CDN, things that are stored on CDN, things that you are not providing from your own local server. For example, the font I'm using is a Google font, so it's not locally available to me. It's hosted by Google, so I have to like use something that matches that, like a pattern that matches that to send that to the client. Same as the images that are stored on Cloudinary, and yeah, so if you have files stored on your server that you're sending to the client, then you can just use the static globes. But then if you have things like CDN that you need to like also include, use the runtime caching. So the plugin that is used there, it comes bundled with a new Vue app, so you don't have to like, you just need to like adjust your configuration to suit what you are doing. It's basically the same thing for other frameworks. But then this is not where it ends. I've taken account for files on my system and then files that are on CDN. But then the most common use case for situations like this is when I'm making an AJAX request or any form of request to a server where I need to fetch data and render the data to the UI. This is where it becomes tricky. So this plugin can't handle this for you because it doesn't know the structure of your data. It doesn't know where data is coming from. So what we basically do is actually do this programmatically right in the code in your component logic or wherever you're writing it. So if you come to app.view, no, if you come to the store, yeah. So this line, this block, sorry. The first time I try to make a request, I don't use it's stored on Firebase. I don't try to fetch from Firebase first. I actually try to like make a request to the local storage first. Okay? I don't make the request directly to Firebase. I first make a request to local storage. So the local storage is serving as my cache. Okay? So if it doesn't exist in the local storage before I now make a trip to Firebase, and then after the trip from Firebase, I still persist what comes back from Firebase to the local storage. Does that make sense? Cool. So next time when I'm trying to make a request, it will start giving me data from the cache first before it makes a trip to the network. So this is basically like it. So most of the time when you're building progressive web apps, it's more of common sense than okay, you should do this. There is no rules to follow. You basically like you know your customers, you know people are going to use your app, so you know your business needs, and then you try to like make that fit right into what you're building. So that's just this the configuration on this part of the code is the only thing you need to know about the progressive web apps in this case, and then the manifest file, the manifest.json file is where you can provide the icons that will appear on your home screen and then the splash screen as well. So that's basically the demo. Yeah. So if you want to know more about PWA, like there are a lot of resources out there, just go to the link here, git.io/awesome PWA, and the demo I just showed you is on my GitHub account, so you can play around with it, and then feel free to tweet at me at CodeBeast if you have questions on the demo when you start playing with them. Yeah, so that's the end of my talk. So you can ask, yeah. Thank you. So I'm very open to scary questions, and yeah. So I prefer questions on PWA. I prefer it to be more of a brainstorming session because it's experimental. So if I'm not able to answer and then you know the answer, please feel free to like help out. Yeah. So questions? Okay. Yeah, after you.
So the example you showed was using a specific framework to do progressive web apps, right?
Yeah,
is it a general concept that you can use with different
I
technologies?
didn't get the first part of that.
I'm saying the example that you showed
okay.
to actually store content locally. Was it just specifically for Webpack, or is it something that you can do across different technologies that you use?
Yes. So the plugin, and that plugin is just an extension of a library. So that library you can use that. It's called JavaScript Preacher. It's developed by Google, so you can use it anywhere, standalone. But then if you want to use it in Webpack, you use that. So PWA doesn't work only with Webpack or with Vue. You can use it anywhere, like anywhere you just feel like it fits in. Yeah, it's.
So what I want to know is, in terms of the configurations of it.
Okay.
For it to be, I think when you work with PWA as on the browser, or an application that works with PWA, there's a prompt that says maybe launch this on your
home screen.
Yeah. So what happens after I've launched it and I delete it? When I go back to the page, will it still prompt me to launch it again, or it takes it as if I have it on my app?
Okay, I don't really like know. I've never like considered that situation. So you're saying after you add to home screen. So his question is this: when you have a manifest file and launch an app with a PWA for the first time, it suggests to you whether I should add the app to home screen. Okay, so it's asking if you delete that icon and launch the app again, does it still prompt you again? So I don't know the answer. If anyone could help. It doesn't. Yeah, so like I think you probably have to manually like add it to home screen and stuff. Yeah. So those three dots in Chrome, when you click on it, you can see the option add to home screen there, so you can like manually add it from there. But I'm not sure it will ever prompt you again after you delete. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So far, it's the company I work with in Nigeria, Flutterwave, is a payment company. So currently we don't have a product, but then we are building. It's still like the idea behind next billion users. So we're actually building like an app that you could actually process payments offline, and if you can't, you end up if the user is not online, you can tokenize the card, and you can just like store the card details and then tokenize and charge when the person comes online and stuff like that. So currently, I can't say for none, but for my own company, we're actually building like something that uses it. So I don't know for South Africa, if you guys have any, could like let us know. Yeah, and then the funny thing is, I think so far from what I've seen, it's Africa and China that needs this most. So we have to like do a lot of work to like get that to happen. Yeah. So I think, yeah, Neil.
So this is more of a comment than a question.
Okay.
I've seen practical uses of PWA, especially with, so there's an e-commerce store in Nigeria called Konga, and they implemented PWA, and one of their payments method was USSD. So if while you're shopping, you happen to go offline and you've added to carts, it's going to prompt you and tell you that, oh, you seem to be offline, but you can still pay for your whatever you decided to order using USSD, which is a very great way to actually cater for people who might happen to just lose connection.
Yeah. So remember what I was telling you guys about the strategies for solutions for next billion users? I mentioned USSD as one of them. So like if you're offline, it does. USSD just needs GSM network, so it doesn't need connectivity to work. So you could like in Nigeria, I don't know about here, but in Nigeria, you can make payments using USSD. Yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you.